I'm Joe Massaro, and I'm with Energy in Depth. I'm here with Bob Poloncic.
Bob Poloncic, and I'm the chairperson of the Vestal Gas Coalition. Our coalition formed a little over 5 years ago and currently represents about 635 landowners and approximately 60% of the land mass of the town of Vestal.
Okay, so a good amount of people.
Good amount of people. We are pleased that every day we have more joining. We've not actively recruited in the community. It's been word of mouth. Originally, we were targeting larger landowners, and that's where most of our initial membership came from. And every day we continue to get more. And right now we're actually getting more that are coming out of the business community along the Vestal Parkway, which is important because at this point the business community is realizing the trickle-down effect. This is not only about the landowner, as it's been said to be. I think the businesses, including the auto dealers and many others on the Vestal Parkway, understand the importance of it. Certainly the construction industry, those that are pouring asphalt and doing things, and also new construction ultimately as we begin to flourish. The example can be clearly seen in Bradford County, where the housing demand has caused more buildings to be built, more houses and rental to be escalated, and on and on. So I think our business community is getting it now, and they're becoming more supportive than they initially were. So it's good to see them coming on.
Even local businesses, you said too, right?
These are all local
stores,
local Vestal businesses, absolutely. I've talked to many of the people who are in the hotels on the Vestal Parkway, and they're all benefiting right now from traffic that's coming across from Pennsylvania.
Right.
Those people are seeing not only the fact that the accommodations are there, which are lacking in Pennsylvania, but there's more to do here. Obviously, if you come to the Vestal Parkway, there's a great amount to do, and from shopping to entertainment, certainly the taverns and food, etc. So, the Vestal community is already flourishing without even actually having a well drilled in the town of Vestal yet. So, I think they understand the potential of what's coming, and etc.
Right. And the moratorium that was originally put on Binghamton,
yes,
has now been lifted as of, or it was voted down in the court.
Yes.
My understanding, and it
Yes.
happened yesterday, correct?
Yes. Yesterday, our coalition and all of the other plaintiffs are very delighted with Supreme Court Judge Leibus's decision, which was a decision that overturned the ban that was placed on the city of Binghamton. It was a ban that was hastily placed as the political parties were changing at the end of the last election cycle, and Mayor Ryan had stimulated the fact that he wanted to make this happen. So it was pushed through, and really the reason that the hearing, or that the decision that Judge Leibus made was the fact that it proves that no single person or no government body can bypass the laws and regulations of the town and the state. And this was clearly a violation of county process, and it basically made it clear that that's not acceptable.
Right.
So we see it as important. There was a number of clients that were involved in addition to our Vestal Coalition, and the reason we were involved is our town obviously borders the city of Binghamton, and we're obviously pro-gas and interested in leasing our land. And like many of the others, including the coalition of the Binghamton Coalition that adjoins the city, there were some major landowners within the city of Binghamton. The Holiday Inn Arena in Binghamton has been affected by this.
Right.
They were very delighted with the prosperity they were seeing of growth, and then were not at all happy when the city decided that they weren't going to be industry friendly, and the industry has turned their back on doing business in the city.
Right.
So the city has been hurt. The properties of Nelson Ellis, which is a large, long-term family-owned business, also was a plaintiff, as well as the Eldon Jeffries, who owns 20 acres in the city of Binghamton, was also affected and was a plaintiff. So I'm sure that we're all pleased that this lawsuit went in a direction that supports the fact that procedures have to be followed, and it clearly indicates that and as we all know, it was more of it was a token, it was a symbolic decision to try to do this, because clearly, based upon the decisions and the laws that are in place, the city of Binghamton sits between two primary aquifers, and there's probably no place at all in the city of Binghamton that can legally be drilled in.
Right.
So it was truly symbolic, and everybody understood that, so it helped to write in my opinion, a very significant incorrect decision to put a ban in place.
Right. And David Slotchie he had a helping hand in putting this moratorium through.
Well, the Slotchies very definitely did that. They provided the legal structure that Mayor Ryan accepted as being the justification for proceeding with this ban, and they did represent the city in the lawsuit, and they have responded in today's paper, the Binghamton Press, and have indicated that that they feel that it is not symbolic of the fact that all bans are illegal, just that this one, which was specifically targeting a procedural practice. But I think the one thing that our law firm, and we are represented by Rob Wedlake and have been from the beginning of time. Rob has been very able and committed counsel to our steering committee. He's helped us to write all of our very landowner-friendly legal documents that will become our contract at some point as a contract with the industry. And he is outwardly been advising some of the towns, including our own town of Vestal, where he presented, that you better be very careful when you decide to put a moratorium in place, that you are legally able to do that, and that you're not impairing the prosperity of your town and taking the rights away from not only the landowners but many of the businesses that will benefit from this. So I think it's important that anyone considering putting a moratorium or a ban in place really might look for legal counsel and advice beyond that of the Slotchys, who clearly have an agenda. And it's been confirmed that they have been receiving funds from the Park Foundation, and the Park Foundation is clearly opposed to drilling. Not completely sure, but obviously people many times don't understand why there is opposition. There's really big money behind the opposition, and in many cases my belief is that a lot of us become the pawns of an industry, and the offshore oil clearly doesn't want to see this happen, and I'm only guessing that they're spending very significant amounts of money to make sure it doesn't, because they don't want to lose control over the oil industry.
Right.
Certainly the alternates energies, including nuclear, solar and wind, would all be affected by this, and most importantly, coal. So I can see all the industries being very, very much supportive of anybody who wants to put a ban in place and stop the drilling process. This industry got started about 20 years ago, the gas industry, and it had momentum, and it went through a similar state, and it never got legs, and we are basically now missing what I believe was an opportunity that would have started 20 years ago to have a resurgence of our whole economy by the fact we would be going through an infrastructure change that would be bringing the more cost-effective natural gas available in the United States to our industry. And it may have and probably would have prevented much of the industry that has gone offshore from going offshore. Mm-hmm. So it was tragic 20 years ago it didn't happen, and I think it's back again with more justification. Certainly it now has the technology of the horizontal drilling, and the cost effectiveness of that. So it's opened up a whole new opportunity for us, not only in gas but in oil exploration, and the technology, as any technology, continues to evolve to become safer and more efficient. And I'm sometimes very offended by the fact that the DEC has taken as long as it has within the state of New York to write the regulatory procedures. But on the other hand, I realize as a business person and as a community person and as somebody who has family here and will live here for the rest of our lives, that we really only get one chance to get this right. Mm-hmm. And we fully support the fact that the CGIS regulatory has taken a lot of time. It needs to be prepared. The state needs to be prepared, including the DEC, to basically be able to defend all of the decisions it's made and not have any soft places that those opposed and all the legal lawsuits that are pending to come will have a place to be successful. So while many of our landowners are very frustrated by the fact that it's deferred the opportunity, those of us who understand a little more, I think, applaud what the DEC is doing. We regret that there's a little bit more politics in it right now than maybe there should be, but that's Albany, that's government, so we adjust to that. And
Well, speaking of Albany, Governor Cuomo, if you could say something to Governor Cuomo, what would you say to him about bringing development to this area?
Well, I know that the governor understands that the state has lost a lot of the strengths that we've had over the last 40 or 50 years. Certainly when we were, the industry leader and we were booming, there were great times, and we could afford many things. And our infrastructure was built around that wealth. Today, we're obviously getting more and more depressed, especially the upstate area. Our agricultural has fallen aside. Many of the prosperous businesses in the regions have passed. Unfortunately, we, like a lot of the economy, are becoming more dependent upon the retail market. And the retail business, although it employs people, doesn't offer much as far as quality of life.
Right.
It's not bringing benefits. It's paying minimal wages, certainly not wages that can support life and a family. And unfortunately now, both members of the household have to work. So the family is deprived of having somebody home to make sure that the family evolves and develops correctly. And with many families now being broken up and having single parents, it's even harder to raise our children to become successful in the lifestyle. And I guess I would ask that he is very concerned and sympathetic about the fact that what other choices do we have?
Right.
I applaud every effort to get other businesses in, and we're fortunate in Binghamton, in the Binghamton Vestal area, that we have some industries that are helping us right now. Certainly, the Binghamton University has been a great asset to have come. It actually built on the backside of our property, and we remember it starting some long years ago, and now we see what it is today. And we're very happy with the president of BU's decision to address the industry opportunities relative to energy. And he's going to look at them all, and we're very pleased with that. And I think he believes that the natural gas component of the energy infrastructure going forward is something that we need to pay attention to and make the best use of.
Right.
So we applaud that. We also have the hospital industries, and then also, unfortunately, part of the industry in the area is that to take care of the aged, because this was a successful boom, and an awful lot of the people living in the Triple Cities right now are the baby boomers, and a lot of us are going to be going and needing nursing home care, etc. So we've got some businesses that are helping us. Certainly, we're fortunate to have a couple of others who have survived the flood and stayed in town. But as we know, the industries that are affected by the fence are certainly losing ground. The government is cutting back on federal spending for defense, and I hope they're applying it to development of the infrastructure, because I think it would be money well spent.
Right.
So I certainly hope that he pays attention to the needs of the landowners and the business owners in the Triple Cities. We are being taxed very significantly. We in the town of Vestal are upset right now because we were just advised that we're looking at possibly a 9% tax increase. And I've been involved with town government to understand that, we all want the services, but we don't want to pay for it. And especially, many of us can't pay for it under today's economic climate.
Right.
So that relief will be greatly appreciated and will help to bring this section of New York back to become a leader in a prosperous place, and place where people's going to want to stay.
Yeah,
because we've lost our children. All of our children are graduating from, I just mentioned the success of Binghamton University,
moving out.
Broome Community College. They're leaving.
Yeah.
And a lot of our friends are very, very unhappy that their children have had to leave the community because there just aren't jobs.
Right. And we talked about earlier, we're going to be you'll be in Albany October 15th.
Yes.
And you'll have a group of coalition members coming down with you?
Yes. We're planning to fill a bus. I have just put out notice to my membership at the beginning of this week, and we've already had a considerable number of people that have confirmed that they're coming. It'll be a very diverse group of men and women and of all ages. And we're going there to send a message to the governor that there are people in this area that definitely support natural gas, and we're willing to take time, many of us, by taking vacation days and personal days out of our employment. Some of us that are going to have to get there with walkers to be able to make a statement that we, the people of this area, find value in this opportunity.
Right. So if anyone else is interested in, coming down to Albany, energyandap.com or .org, sorry, reach out to your local landowner coalitions, and we are filling buses, so
yes,
we're definitely trying to bring a big number out for it.
Yes.
Show Governor Cuomo this is not just one side; there's a whole other side to this whole thing.
Yes,
Right?
yes, very true.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're just very thankful that we're sitting on a natural resource that's going to give us the opportunity to see a resurgence. We're confident that it will happen over time. Many have said, "What's the rush?" At this point, I think the rush is that we need energy independence, and we're sitting on top of that opportunity. A lot of people don't understand that. I believe the current number is that New York State realizes over 90% of its natural gas supply coming from other places.
Imported, yep.
It's all imported. A lot of it's coming from Canada, and some of it's coming from the Gulf.
And one of the biggest users too.
And
New
we're a
York.
very large user. I mean,
Yep.
between the city and New Jersey and Philadelphia, all the areas that are basically bordering this opportunity. We're fortunate that we have some businesses that have insight. I was just at a presentation from Leather Stocking, and Leather Stocking is a local businessman, Joe Barabino, who's partnered with the Corning Gas Company, and they're interested in developing infrastructure, and they're looking at helping to save businesses like the Amphenol business up in Sydney. They're looking at developing some of the gas filling stations that'll allow us to change over to compressed natural gas. The opportunities for a lot of municipalities to convert their vehicles to reduce taxes over to compressed natural gas is very significant. School bus routes. I mean, our town of Vestal has a lot of school buses. The opportunity of reducing our cost of fuel are significant. So we're happy that we have this opportunity, because without it, I'm not sure where we would be.
Right.
Walmart isn't going to solve the problem.
Yep.
Walmart is not going to solve the problem, and we're no longer agricultural. As a bedroom community of retired people, it doesn't help the infrastructure, and it doesn't help the economy.
Yep. All right. Well, it's Bob. He'll be in Albany too, so feel free to say hi to him. He's down there.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.